Hello and welcome to the second board webinar of this series. Previously we have discussed how board can help you with ad hoc analysis, using selections and by drilling down into the numbers. Today we're going to focus on some functionalities within board which will help us adding business insights to our data. Besides this, I'm going to show you some ways of entering data using board smart allocation methods. If you've got any questions, I would like to ask you to save them until the end of the webinar or to send them to me by email. I'm going to keep it at a basic introduction just to get you more familiar with board as a planning tool. My name is Sebastian Bell. I'm a consultant at Sonum International. Sonum is a global consultancy company specialized on the fields of budgeting, planning and forecasting. We can help with any phase of the project, whether it's the tool selection, designing of the model, implementation or support. Our consultants have on average more than 7 years of experience. If you would like to know more about Sonum's experience or the people behind it, please visit our website. You can see it here on the slide. And on our website you will also be able to access our knowledge base with interesting articles and tool information. First, some background information on board. Board is a Swiss multinational with more than 20 years of experience. They have more than 3,500 customers and over 1,500 trained consultants. Board has been recognized as a tool that's years ahead of its competition, as well as being the best breed regarding big data, performance and customer satisfaction. Recently, Board has also been named as a leader in the Gartner's Frontrunner Quadrant. This is especially meaningful since it's completely based on end-user ratings and reviews. While being a Swiss company from origin, Board is established all over the world. It has offices in 5 continents and over 15 different countries. This means that support is available around the clock. As you may know, the traditional planning processes are often modular and fragmented. If you want to do planning, report and consolidation, there are often multiple products necessary to do so. Data integration efforts usually lead to adapters and even back to regular Excel files. Here, users are often dealing with the questions of the data's integrity and if they're working with the latest version. One of the key advantages of Board is that it unifies CPM and BI completely in a single tool. Often vendors offer a range of different tools to help with all the different processes within the company. Sometimes these are separately developed and sometimes these are acquired through acquisitions. But in the end, they all have to be connected using adapters. A Board, on the other hand, is a tool that is developed completely in a single environment from the ground up. This means that all your processes of any kind, whether it's sales planning, headcount planning or consolidation, they're all housed in a single database. Today we're going to focus on some interesting planning forecasting features. And I'm going to show you how you can enrich your data with business insights. The last webinar in this series will be in 2 weeks, and here I will show you how Board can make reporting not only easier but also more effective. And besides this, I'll show you how we can use Board's broadcast function to easily distribute it to the right people. Now let's get into Board and look at some of Board's features. When we enter Board, we start on the main screen. Right now I'm on a laptop on the client version, but this could also be from the web or any other kind of device supported by a Microsoft or Apple operating system. Besides this, we're also able to take live Board data to any of the Microsoft Office applications, but I'll go deeper into this during our last reporting webinar. Just like all of the other screens you'll see during this demo, it is built from the ground up and completely customizable. Everything can be completely changed according to your personal preferences and needs. In this case, we've split our screen at the bottom in the categories BI and PM, with at the top a carousel, just to make things a bit more visual. In this carousel, I can scroll to the different screens, and if I see the one I need, I can access it by simply clicking on it. Or I could use the button at the bottom of the screen. Alright, so here we have our product analysis screen, one of the important screens during this demo. I'm going to quickly go through the objects. Here we see a selector on the division, another selector on the product group. We have a sales trend graph, a sales distribution tree map, and a traditional table with the rows and columns grid. To do a quick recap of last time, we can use selections using these selectors on the left. And when we make a selection, you can see that all of the other objects immediately update. Let me remove the selections. Here we have our table. in the board often referred to as a data view. Per product group we see all of the products, we have our actuals, we have our budget quantities, and we have a variance percentage calculation which is done on the fly. In this chart we can sort on the columns, and we see some alerts here in different colors. This just gives an indication of the sales value. Besides this, one of the interesting features I explained last time is that we have a drill down function where you can go deeper into the actual numbers. Now here, for example, we have the products, and I can decide to drill to on the customer and see which customers are buying this product. Now I would like to show an interesting feature of Word which is related to this last column. Let me first go back to our initial screen. So here we see we can add comments. While we're making a planning, we often mainly focus on the numbers, and we often forget about the insights of our colleagues, or we just don't have the time to talk to everybody. They have interesting information because they could know, for example, more about what's going on at the customer and how these could affect the numbers. Now here we have let me take an empty one, an opportunity to add a comment. And when we save it, we save to this exact intersection. So we take this product for watches in the sports product division, product group. Now, because we save to this exact intersection, if we switch to another division or another product group, and we see that all these comments clear up. And now the user will have another opportunity to enter a new comment. And besides adding comments, sometimes, because this is just a limited amount of space, it will be interesting to add a document. This could be, for example, a manual, but also a report where we elaborate a little bit more on the numbers and explain how they are derived. Here we can see a Word little logo. When we click on it, we see we have three options, either to replace, edit, or delete. If we click on edit, the file will open directly in Word, and here we can make changes and save it directly. Now the nice thing is that it's not stored locally, but it's stored directly in the board database. This means that when a user makes changes, it is immediately available for all of the other users. Based on the security profile, we can allow them either access to do this or not. The same goes for the replace and the delete function. At the security profile, here you can set if they can do this or if you want to refrain them from doing this. We won't necessarily want all of the users to be able to use this functionality, maybe only to edit or only to read it. Alright, so next to this column you can see we have an Excel column which does the same. Here if we click edit, it will open in Excel, and here we see a quick chart which has been added by one of the users. Now one of the cool things is that we can connect directly with Board to Excel, but I've told you a little bit about this in our previous webinar. Alright, so another option which you might be a little bit more familiar with is the one over here. Here you can see a little triangle. If we hover over it, we can see our comment, and we can easily edit this by clicking the edit button, and you see a screen pops up. Now here we have the functionalities of a rich text editor, which means we can use different colors, we can use bullet points, and we even have the possibility to add in pictures if we would like. Well, we can save it by pressing OK, or we cancel it by clicking the cancel button. Alright, so next to this, the last thing, how we can enrich our data with qualitative information. It seems like a small thing, but here we have some pictures. If you hover over them, you get a short, you get a small overview of which product we're dealing with. This could be interesting if you have a lot of products in your portfolio and you would like to see which product is what. And you see that these are also saved to an exact intersection. So if we switch categories, the images will also switch. Alright, so much for enriching our data with qualitative information. I would now like to show you some of the board's basic data entry functions, for which I created a simple data entry screen. So here we have a selector at the top on the month. We have a graph showing the regions selected with our region selector. So we see the south region, we see the central region, and we see the north region. At the bottom we see the same data view as in the previous screen, only now I use a little bit more width. So here we can scroll and we can see all of the months of the year. Now you see in the graph these are quite a lot of lines. It could be that we would like to focus on only two regions in this case. So here we can make a selection, simply turning lines on and off by clicking on the graph. Now we can make selection on regions using the selector at the top, but board allows selections also to be done using the objects. So here, for example, if we would like to show the south, we can click on it, we update our selection, and here you see the two lines for south, the actual and the budget line. Now if we would like to adjust the budget, we can enable the data entry. In this case it's not done yet, but I can easily do it by going to the layout, if I have the right access of course. I'm selecting the budget block and enabling the data entry. Now because we're not on the lowest level yet, we will get a message here saying please enable the split and splat function. Right now I'm on a month level, but the lowest level could be either days or even weeks or even days. Now this is one of the strengths of board, where it's not necessary to go directly down into the lowest level. If we enable this split and splat function, board will allocate this data in a smart way. Now we can see the budget columns have become yellow and data entry is possible. So now, for example, if I enter 100,000 and I press OK, we see that the third column, which I explained is a calculation which is done on the go, immediately updates. Now we can either decide to save this entry or we can undo it. It might be that we would like to enter data on a year level. In this case you cannot directly see the year column, so it's handy to go into the edit block mode. If we go into the edit block mode, we see all the columns for budgets which allow data entry. And here at the end we see the total column with our 867,000. Now if I want to increase this to 900,000, notice that the months change proportionally. Alright, it could be the case that we want to set a value for a few months. I can do this here, for example, let me select 2 months, fill it with a constant and say okay, here I'd like to use an average of around 60,000. We apply it and we see only these two cells update. But now we notice that also our total level has been changed. Although we changed these 2 months, we still want to keep the same 900,000 on the total level. We can do this with this function. Here we have the lock cells function. If we click it, the cells will gray out. And here we can change it and we see that everything is updated proportionally and without June and July changing. Now, besides this, we also of course have the basic board data entry functions. We can use the constants which you use for the 60,000. We can add a number, subtract, multiply, divide, and even add a linear growth or a growth percentage. Now for example, if I say I want to add 1%, I apply it, it will add 1% over each of the months. Besides this, I can here select, for example, this line and set a linear growth of 5,000 and apply it, and I see everything updated again except these two columns. Now here we can select the whole row and set it back to 900,000. Now in the end, we can either choose to accept the changes we have made, or we can undo them and go back into our initial situation. So if I undo it, we see we have our starting number of 867,000 again. With this, I would like to conclude this webinar. I hope you just got a little bit better view of the possibilities of board. Although it's just a basic function, I will get progressively more technical and show you all of the possibilities board has to offer in our future webinars. I would now like to give a short moment for questions. If you have any uncertainties, you can of course always contact me at any time. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn as well. And if you have any challenges you're dealing with, just let me know and I will get back to you and show you how board can solve them relatively easily. Alright, so if there are no other questions, I would like to thank you for your time. Our next webinar will be in 2 weeks, where I'll show you some nice features to help you create the next level report in only a few minutes. I hope to see you again next time, and I wish you a very nice day. Thanks again, and bye-bye.